you conquer a city and you have children going, they become yours. They have to dip them in the mikveh for the sake of gerus, and the chayve mitzvahs like a isha. So l'shem geret, l'shem eved, arei eved. Seems to be the same token, l'shem ger, arei ger. Which means I don't care, not only motzot tinoik, a baby which has no das, it's 0 das. Motzot tinoik akum, it's a 0 das, it's a baby. Ve'idbilu l'shem ger, and he dip him for the sake of gerus, arei ger. Rather, Yisroel shetokam akum kod, you have a minor which has some das, he's a child, and he has some das, and yet, the Rambam says, if I dip them l'shem ger, arei ger. How's it possible? How this is possible? So today...
But the question is really, what is the source of a stone?
No, what's this? How does it work?
And why the Rambam didn't mention basic?
Yes, I'm reading now the Lechem Mishnah. The Lechem Mishnah, the last 3 lines, the Lechem Mishnah, he says... Page 2, below. So I read the Mishnah 3 lines down, or 3 lines from the end above, go up. It's right in the middle. V'yoyser kosha alosha. He says, I have a stronger kasha in the language of the Rambam. Shekosav, the Rambam wrote, Yisroel shetokaf akum koton. Yisroel that attacked a goy, a minor goy, mashma, afilu tofa bal kochav again. It's mashma, even I attack the child by force, the child becomes a convert. V'amayim, and why? Nay, the koton ave, yet true, he's a minor. Mikol mokum tzayich sheyeh midas. And he can do it from his own das. If it's a baby, so he doesn't have ability to say yes. He doesn't have the ability to say no. It's nothing. Okay. Situation, how does it work? Good. But a child which has das, or doesn't have a full das, is Masha from the Rambam. That if I attack him, somebody, a Jew attacks a child, akum koto, I don't need his das. Kede kosav ravio, like the ravio wrote down. Kosav Mordechai so pekachoyitz. V'chen latur b'simen reish samaches, which is printed here. Kosav din de Ravuna k'shebo nizgayer. Aval ba'akoch olama. That's the question of the Rambam. And I read the two is quote right after this. That's an assumption. An assumption that gerus needs das. Maybe one person doesn't have das. Okay. So you'll say that, but if a child has a das, it says no. How does it work? He doesn't have a full das, but he has some das. How can you dip a child for the gerus when a child says no? He's not a baby, you're talking about a child, not a baby, a child.
The indication that he's screaming tells you he has an opinion.
Right, let's say he's 12 years old. Let's stretch the question. The child is 12 years old. Says, I don't want 12 and a half. Says, I don't want. You attack him, you dip his head in the mikveh by force, and you make him a Jew. Makes sense? What do you want to say, Simcha? You do that anyway. Okay, it's very hard. It's very hard to say. So yes, Yoshua. Yes, they should worry. They should keep the mitzvahs. Pelevi says no. Yes, Reb Chaim.
You could say it on the result and not the action. You know what the action is.
I'm not asking what you could say. I'm asking what we are saying. Reb Chaim, Reb Chaim will not say what you could say. I'm asking the Svoras Hadovo. What are we saying here? We're saying that you can dip in mikveh. So comes the Lechem Mishnah and he says, Lama? Why? Look in the two. Nochi katan. Im yesh lo av, if he has a father, yochoi legai roiso. If the father is there, the father can convert him. V'im en lo av, if he has no father, bali zgayer, he came on his own to convert. He's a child. Based in megayri moiso, like we saw in the Rashbo, the lo mechazer, but the megayer. Sheschusulon. The zochi lo'odom shaloi below yediyosah, that is yediyah. So according to the two, he came, he requested to Mizgaya. So because he requested, as the Meidi says, he requests as a tviyah, utoivea, mikol makom utoivea. He demands, okay, so the child demands, I understand. But there's no demand of a child. I just go and I attack a goyish child and I bid him to becomes a Jew. It makes sense. That's against the seichel. How does it work?
Where's the problem? It's a binding. I'm a binding. I do what I want.
Who says you're a binding?
I found something. What's a cotton? I'm a
I'm
binding.
not saying motzo kotom. I'm talking about tokaf akum kotom.
Same thing.
I attacked a goy katan.
Same thing.
What? It's an a Kenyan. What? Which Kenyan? Of kibush?
Kibush. A kolan goba.
Okay. We'll see. Let's see. Now, this is the first point here that we have to ask ourselves. As we saw that one second, here, move in a second. We saw that the Ritva wants to say that Beis Din don't dip in the mikveh. The Baal HaHalacha says it's not possible. Beis Din don't have the power to make condition on a child who they are. They're not relevant. Beis Din not relevant. So how the Rambam seems to be saying that can attack a child means against his will? How does it work? How does it work?
I hear once the shir of the Rosh Yeshiva.
Maybe even more. I would say I'll finish. I'll make it a little bit stronger. A slave, yes. A slave, I don't ask the question. He's my slave. He's my moment. But Judaism. One second. Judaism, Yahadut, it's not a slave. Yahadut has to do, or you were born like this, or it's something that you want to be involved with. How can you have a child who doesn't have his parents come in, is on his own, and not even on his own, somebody attacked him against his will, and then to make it works? It's very hard. It's against the seichel. What do you want to say loud? Good. That's what we're really asking. What? Yes. Yes. So you say, Chetzi das, I don't need his das. But if he has an opposition, okay. Good. This is what Reb Shlomo said. This is what Reb Shlomo Zalman, and you're on the same line. But we're going to go a little bit stronger to that and see the Chassam Sofer what he brings down, and his chilukim between bris milah and tefillah. And we have to say that the Rambam holds not only milah is like that, also tefillah is like that. It's Baal Kocha. All three are saying the same thing. They're saying, one second, Reb Chaim. They are saying that I can do something with a child for his benefit against his will. Because he doesn't have das. His das is not complete. Even though he shouts and screams, I do something for him which is his benefit. And I don't have to ask him questions. I don't care what he says. To explain it, we need explanation, because we're going to see the Chassam Sofer, which makes a chilek between Milah and Tefillah. And then we have to say that the Rambam holds that even Tefillah is the same, like Bris Milah. And how and what. This is what we want to do. This is what we want to get to. Yes, I'm listening to Reuven.
Thank you. I hear once that what does it mean that God doesn't him with us? It's not that he's dumb. It's not that he's stupid. He's very smart and intelligent. But he cannot decide in reality. He's not in the reality to choose what is good and what is bad. For example, if you say a child, I'm gonna give you candies and bring me from the wallet of your mother money. He's gonna do it because
Yeah, I understand that. I understand all that. But the question is,
But who's saying now that is that against it comes for something? He's against. He's not against.
I'll explain. I want to explain what really in the deeper sense, what were we asking? Until now, last week, we went with the theory that the father's das, the mother's das, the apotropos das, is really down deep the das of the child, even though he doesn't say yes or he says opposite, no. Which means whatever they want for the benefit of the child, we can assume that that's what they want in the being later on, or that's which things are there for their good. It's there. Down deep, that's really so really you have the das of the child. You have like a din das. You don't have a das before you have a din das. You find a baby, or the father brings the baby, the mother brings the baby. All those cases, or the foster, the apotropos, those people. Their das, I assume, was really down deep the das of the baby. Even though he doesn't say yes or no, or even says no, because of the full das, you say whatever his parent says, that's really what he's saying. Down deep, behind the scream and shouting. Now, Bezrat Hashem, we're going to say moment is a whole different option, like you guys are saying. It's much harder to say, but let's see what we're going to say. So I'm going to start with the Chasam Sofer. I'm reading the Chasam Sofer in page 2. Yes, Reb Chaim.
You can say what he's delicious with attacking, he doesn't move forward what the child's reaction was. You're assuming the reaction is
right. And I'm not assuming. Rabbi, I'm not assuming wrong. I'm not assuming, you're assuming. I'm saying since the Rambam didn't write down, listen. Since the Rambam didn't write down what is the reaction of the child, can be two options. Or it's obvious that he agrees, or no, even though he screams, still it works. And the Rambam didn't write down what is it, so I include everything. I said the word attacking. I started Reb Chaim by saying, what is the word attacking? Attacking goes on the physical dragging him into court, or attacking means I put his head in the water even though he screams he doesn't want. What is attacking? Or both. He says, Yisrael shetokaf akum kotam, v'yidbilu Hashem ger. He attacked him and he dipped him. The dipping is the attacking, the dragging the court is the attacking. The attacking is like Reb Shlomo Zalman says, is the conquering. But really, when I dipped it was with free will. What is it? Pashas is all cases. Rabbi didn't make a chiluk. All cases, all options. When they ask you a question by the afternoon, Rabbi Zachariah Stern, A, B, or C, or all option true, right? It's all true. I didn't make a chiluk, right? Yes, good. Call it American test.
The Mishnah says, Pirush Rabbeinu go our Gemara. Rasha Kesef Rabun is also talking.
I don't know, what were you saying again?
Kesef
Kesef Misha, yes.
Pirush Rabbeinu, Mashu Kamo, Oma Burigerkot Madvin Moisoy. What is Madvin Moisoy?
That's basically good.
No, this is called Toka. Madvin is Toka.
Good. So what does Toka means Manbili, meaning even though the child? So what does it mean even though the child didn't agree? By force, means by what he doesn't want. Good. So let's see the Chasam Sofer. Omar Ravuno, I'm reading the Chasam Sofer inside, please. Ger kotel Manbili Mosadas Beis. Ein Yevomes Perkachoilets Membeis Amud Beis. V'lichol tzorichim shtas Rashi mevuo. Bamikro. Rashi Shita that says you can circumcise by force, he says it's clearly in the pasuk Mikro Mole. Da'akumal b'noi koton bar kochoi. A goy circumcised is non-Jewish child by force. Kedechsiv, as it says, v'chiyagur itchem ger, imo kol zachar, circumcise all his male children. So, what is he saying? He's saying the Torah gave rights to the father to circumcise the child by force. Even a goy, not only a Jew. Who's talking? I don't hear.
That was my question.
What was your question? Even a goy, yes. Even a goy, that's what he brings a person. A person is a goy, he can circumcise his son against his will. What? Ger Toishav, not a Jew. Ger Toishav, he doesn't need Nevelos, he accepts 7 Noach laws.
It's talking about Carbon Pesach.
Common Pesach.
He's Ger Toishav, he's Carbon Pesach.
And the
Why
goy
don't they
doesn't
untouch
does
it?
it
It's
matter
not
if
his
it's
soil.
inside of Israel or outside of Israel?
Maybe Geus, maybe has to do Mila and Tvila for Geus. Ger Toishav, we can read it.
The father is not converting.
Ve'im kein, if so. Nay, truly, the name of Ravuna Chimai, we can say Ravuna is talking like this in that case. That what? B'she'eno v'gotel moy. If the father wants to circumcise the child, I don't need the das of the child. I don't need the chiddush of Ravuna. If the father wants to circumcise the child, he can circumcise him against his will. I don't need Ravuna. So what's the case of Ravuna? The name is possible to say Ravuna Chimayri. Ravuna is talking about when the father doesn't want to circumcise. And we, the basic, want to circumcise. But the father wants to first, I don't need Ravuna, it's a puzzle. Mikol Mokom Lekamon. However, the Gemara later on that says the Koromar Begershin is guy who born of noise of Imoy. The Nichol Mador Avon. The Gemara says if the father and mother converted together, the father converts together with his children. It's comfortable for the children, whatever the father is doing. Mashma. My timer is mashma. The reason is because they want to do what the father wants. That's why they can protest when they grow up. Only because we assume that's what they want, but they can protest. Because according to Rashi Shito, according to we found the Pasuk, Teipuk Leidim Menoraisim. He says if the father converts with the children, it's not because the children agree to the father. It's comfortable for them what the father wants. If the father converts with children, he can force them by force. It's a Doraisa circumcision, Doraisa Bismil and Geus. How can they protest later on? So the Chassam Sofer as a Tzorich Hiyu. And not only that, as a Chassam Sofer in Yoredeh Siman Reish Gimel brings down that most poskim hold that if the child is converted together with his parents, together with his father, when he grows up, he cannot protest. Again, another the Chassam Sofer brings the most poskim in Yoredeh Siman Reish Gimel. The Chassam Sofer brings most poskim that holds that if the father converted together with the children, it's a Doraisa conversion because the father can make a decision on the child's future, and therefore, but the Gemara's language is not mashma like that because the Gemara here says it's comfortable for them what the father wants. It means it's not because of control, it's rather because the child, we can assume that the child wants to do what the father wants. But if later, it's because it's a benefit for him. But if later on he says, I don't want, he can break it away. But he's saying, why? If the father has control, we see if it's a bris milah, the father has control, he can do it by force. So when the father circumcises himself and dips them in himself and he does it to his children, means there's no greater wish that the father really wants it. So he can do it by force. And if you do it by force, it's a doraisa conversion. It's not because we need the child's agreement, and we assume we have the agreement, and we have to make sure that when he's 13 years old, we really continue on and what's that agreement. No, not doing that. The father has dominion over the child for bris milah by force. So therefore, it's gedus v'doraisa. So when they grow up, they cannot protest. And not only that, the Chasam brings a lot of poskim all like this la'alocha. Yes, who's talking?
No, I'm just asking who says that conversion is also in the future, like the father has control in the future. Maybe it's the rise, but who says that it's forever? We don't find something that the rise it's pending. It's the only case here in all the jobs.
Oh yes, if it's with the rights, it's finished. It's done deal. Depends which type of the rights. If the rights means you assume you want, so when it's 13 years old, you examine it. You examine it. But if it's not because when I do, I assume the child wants. I'm the right. And I will say even more. This is what the guys are saying, Svo. Can the father makes a decision on the child which school is going to go to? I want to tell you a story. I think I said it last week. Rabbi Yochanan Weiner told me there was a big gathering in kibbutz. It
was the first kibbutz.
First kibbutz, I forgot the name. The Ganya Aleph. Shomer HaTzayir. It was a big gathering of all the big guys of the Zionism that they wanted that the parents have no control over the children. They have a children's home, that the children grow now with the parents, Beit HaYeladim. But they wanted to control how many children parents will bring, and they have no control over the children. So the head of the Zionism that was there in the kibbutz, one of the famous guys, Hafkin, whatever it was, his name was, he laughed. He says, it's not possible. It's not possible to control the essence of the grain of a family. That's not controllable. That belongs to the parents. He laughed at it. And he was right. Everybody voted against it, didn't work out. And even he did, it didn't work out. The Torah to say that the father has dominion over the child, reference to which education is going to have a bris milah to circumcise the child. In America, going circumcise the children, 1 year old, 2 years old. Nobody says, hey, nobody takes them to court that you're damaging your child. Why not? Who are you to circumcise the child? To cut a piece of him, to damage it. They call it a damage. They give you profile 97 in the army. Why? Because everybody understands the father has dominion over the child to decide what education you have and a bris milah too. It's nothing to do with separation, religion from state. It's a fundamental understanding that the father has control over the child. We call it bios, ownership. So again, now we came into a whole different world here. The battle that the Chasam Sofer is asking, it's really a whole new way to look at a sugya. Instead of saying until now, we're saying that whatever the father wants, you assume the child wants. The child screams, hey, I don't want. Okay, it hasn't worked. The Rambam, we don't know exactly how it works. No, we're a whole different world. I don't need your agreement. I'm your bailing. And I would say even more. I used to say many years ago when I gave a shiur on this sugya, the Rambam says that if the father makes nedorim and he breaks them, if father is noida nedorim, he makes vows and he doesn't keep his vow, what happens? Who knows what happens? His little children die. So the Chasam Sofer is, the Rambam is, why his children, little babies, get punished if the father doesn't keep his language, his tongue, a vow? Why? Well, ma kesher. What's a kesher? What's the connection that the father doesn't keep his language, right? Vow. That's what it used to be made. What's the kesher? Ma kesher. That was the slang of Meitzah. Ma kesher. What's the connection? The answer to the Rambam says no. That the children of a man is shoyro v'chamoyroi, like his ox and like his donkey. Everybody attacks to his Rambam. Ooh. Human rights. No.
I want to know the source of that one.
The Rambam. It's a Rambam Michos Nadorim. That if the father doesn't keep his language, his tongue, is bonov aktani mesi ba'avoin nedorim bonov shalodam aktani mesi. Why? The Rambam says because koshoyro chamoyroi. It's like his ox and his donkey. What's really saying? It's like your money, like your mammon. Like, it's not. It's like in this aspect. It's like his money. So I would say a whole different way, a whole different matter. This is what seems to be what the Chazam Sofer is battling. Chazam Sofer is battling what rebel. He's saying, hey, it's not londes that the father wants, we assume the child wants. It's not if there's a whole different world, and the child wants. He says yes, if he does a full das, he requests, he has tviyah. No. Just forget about it. Erase all that. No! The father has dominion over the child. He has the bailus, like Shoyro v'chamoyroi. So therefore, when the father converts, so you hear when he says, Lichoyro, it should be Gedus M'doraisa. Not because it's comfortable for the child what the father wants. He says it's only here in the language. Why the Gemara says that if the father converts with the children, it's comfortable. We don't have to come up to that. If the father converts with the children, means he's the Bailim. He can do what he wants with the children. That's what he does with the children, even without converting them. If he brings them to court, it's the same. Like Rashi says, the father, Ravun is without the father. But if the father came, even if he doesn't convert, you don't have to come under this nichele. He has to do because he's Bailim on the children. He's the owner. You understand, rabbis? He's the owner. Yes, Moshe. What? Right. I understand, but we asking now. The Chasam Sofer is asking that if we're going to follow the theory that the father has bailus, dominion over his children, like we see, I added like by Nedorim, but he brings by Bris Milah. We see even a goy can circumcise his children without asking the question by force, Baal Kocho, because the father has dominion over his children. So if that's the power of the father, so when the father converts with the children, or he brings them to court, even doesn't convert them, now I'm adding, the Chasam Sofer is cut, whatever it is, since the father has dominion over the children, Mikra Mol, it's a full pasuk. He can circumcise the children by force. So the father has dominion over the children, so therefore the conversion is Baal Kocho, it's Doraisa. So therefore, not because it's they agree, Nichele, you have to come to Nichusa. No, I don't care about the Nichusa. I'm the Barabait. I can do with a child what I want. And I did with the Mikra. By us, no. When the Gemara wants to make a chiluk, there is no raya from the Mishnah to Ravuna. Okay, so 1 second. So according to the Rambam, pass like Ravuna, so therefore what? Okay, good. Okay, good. Now we're asking on this Havamina, without Ravuna. Okay, you're saying, on Ravuna, I don't need Nichusa. So what are you saying? That according to the Maskona, the basin has dominion over the child? Why? Who are they? But the father came to basin, or didn't come to basin?
No, he didn't.
He didn't, so how does it work?
Because that's Nikolai.
What?
That's the use Nikolai, but he's not Nikolai.
But so Ali B'Dem is if the father didn't come, Beis doesn't use Nichale. Beis uses Nichale, but if the father comes, I don't need to use Nichale. Okay, good, possible. But according to this, it's a whole new way to solve the problem. That when the father comes, there is ownership, and therefore I don't need a Nichale.
The Gemara says.
He's saying the Gemara, Rabbi Falshev, the Moshe wants to say. That the Gemara is talking about without Ravuna. Without Ravuna, that only the father comes, and then he says Nichusay. But once we said, I don't need nechuse because even not a father can do it. I don't need nechuse. But Reb Moshe, I tell you why he answered. Reb Moshe, Rabbi Shauser, Reb Moshe, I don't see your answer because without Ravuna, so Adarabba, without Ravuna, basic cannot do it. Only the father can do it. So what I need nechuse by the father. The Gemara says, I don't know if a guy from the Mishnah, read, I don't hold like Ravuna. And you know why the Mishnah works. Because the Mishnah is nechusa.
Tomorrow wants to argue the Mishnah Yisrael. What's the Gemara trying to say? There's no din av. There's still a din av by force, but Bezdin can't work with it. Bezdin can't force it.
But why the Gemara has to come on if they don't hold of Ravuna? And when the father does it, they have to come on to nechusa. The father does it, is a din of baili.
Why the Masrani wants to be even by the father?
Correct.
Because the Gemara says even the father might be nechusa.
Would have to come on to that. The father has bailus.
Because the Gemara is behind me that if the father is nechusa, it's going to be studied.
I said, I don't need that. I don't need that. If the father has ownership to do circumcision bal koich, I don't need nechusa. That's the Chasam Sofer Tzorich you. Tzorich l'choira.
If the father himself is nicholate, then there's no Bezdin nicholate. If the father needs nicholate, then there's no Bezdin nicholate. Because you only nicholate on the other rule, but not nicholate Bezdin.
Agree. I don't need the nechusa of Bezdin, but I also don't need the nechusa of the father. I don't need the nechusa that the children want to do the nechusa of the father. It's just because the father's he's owner. Forget Bezdin. Forget about Bezdin. I want to know Mishnah. Why the Mishnah, the Gemara says, because there's a nechusa. Why do you have to come into that?
Because the Gemara wants to say that it's not nicholate. All it's not nicholate. Yeah?
Not nicholate by Ravuna. But why do you have to come on that he is nechusa? Forget about it. They say Ravuna is not nechusa, good. But here, you know why I work? Because you have a father. The father's a baili. Would have to come into the nechusa. The father has ownership.
Who made up the father's a baili?
What? Who made up the father's a baili?
You only know because the best is nicholate.
No. Mikro mole. He says a mikro mole. Da'aku mal bnoi koton bal kocho. Kedechsiv chiyogim geram imo lekot zocho. Unless you make a mechila between Mila and Tvila. But if you don't make Mila and Tvila, why do you have to come on to Nechusa? Let's see what he says. So which means, if we're going to explain the Rambam, one second. If we're going to position the Rambam, that the Rambam is taking the position, not like we said until now, that the father, like you, Rabbi Shlomo said, and others, right when I started, you jumped the gun, like they say. And I said, no, it's Bibles. I don't know if he said it clearly, but that's what you meant. That the father has Bilos, dominion over the child. And that's why I can attack. You have dominion over the child. So, if that's the point, why the Gemara use the language by the fathers converting with them, Nichusa? What's the comment on that? It's a Bible. The Ravuna is out. The Gemara says no right from Mishnah to Ravuna. Good. But you know why the Mishnah works? Not because you have Nichusa. Because you have violence. You say, love Dafka. Okay. It's a dochuk. Let's see what the Chasam Sofer says. Comes the Chasam Sofer and he says, yes.
Not like the Bitzur said. The Bach says that really was Nicholay, this is Pshat and Ravuna. This is Pshat and Ravuna. Nicholay means is Ravuna.
Good. But it's not the Pash. The Gemara wants to make chiluk. We didn't. I don't know what the Bach is saying. Where the Bach is saying what you say? Wait. You're destroying a Bach. Where? Show me the Bach. Show me. Yes. Where? I'm looking at my Gemara in front of me. Where's the Bach? What are you talking?
The Bach in Shulchan Aruch, not Bach in the Bach.
Bach and Shulchan Aruch.
I gave the paper to Shulchan Aruch.
I don't have it with me.
Bach in the Shulchan Aruch. He says this Pshat the Gemara. The Ravuna is the Gemara says the keep the Ravuna and Nicholay. Is to keep the Ravuna.
I don't know the Bach. I have to see what inside. I don't know what you're talking
The means to say
doesn't make sense what you're saying.
He says not like the Beis Yosef.
I don't know what he's saying. I have to see it inside. Until now, what you're saying doesn't make sense. Because the Gemara makes a chiluk between the Mishnah and Ravuna. So I can say that's Pshat and Ravuna.
No, the Gemara doesn't make a chiluk. The Gemara says answer, not a chiluk.
The Gemara makes a chiluk. I'm reading the language. The Gemara says, "Lev mesayale." The Gemara says no. Oh, maskim is the techir. The Gemara says loy. What's the word loy? What's the word loy means?
We doiche.
Loy. Or maskin, which we just saying there's no raya.
This
Loy, the word loy means no. Lo means no.
There's no raya.
In Arabic is la.
No, it
In
means.
Spanish is no. Come on, it's no, it means no.
No, it's no siyata. This means.
That's all. So we say no siyatas. He's saying a svor, which is not a siyata. I say a svor ravuno. What are you talking about? I don't know exactly what he's talking about. Cannot be that the loy means he's explaining pshat ravuno. Loy means no ravuno. And this is something else. That's what means loy. How do you say loy means yes? I don't know what he's talking about. I have to see the back. I don't know what he's talking about. I have to see. V'ani oni uzdai. So comes the Chasam Sofer and he says, what the Chasam Sofer says? Rebo, you have papers? What?
I have the back.
Now to him, I'm talking about Rebo.
I have the back.
Show me. No, it's too long. Oh, I have to see what he says. I see it above. What he's saying. He's saying what the Baal is doing. The Rabbi is talking about that the children converted with him. Okay. There's only one sheet. According to that sheet. I don't know how he's saying. Moses loy. Okay. V'anir le niuzdaiti al pi ma sheiksh shom toises al pi Rashi. Lama likro de ben shu ish yatamal bar koch. Toises asked the kasha. Rashi brings down that a child, when he's an adult, the father cannot circumcise him by force. Why didn't the pasuk for that? Teipukle mi yefastoya. Let's learn from Yefas. Everybody knows what is Yefastoya? Fastoya, somebody goes to war and he finds a beautiful girl that she wants to seduce the men not to be killed.
Where are you reading?
I'm reading in the Chasam Sofer. Second paragraph. V'anir leniuzdaiti al pi ma sheiksh toishav al pi Rosh Rashi. Lama likro de ben shu ish yatamal bar koch teipukle Yefastoya. What does he say? Toishes asks on Rashi. Rashi says, I have a posuk that I cannot circumcise an adult. A goy cannot circumcise his son, an adult, by force. Yes, Rachamim. He cannot do that by force. I have a posuk. So this is what I need a posuk for. Teipuk levaso. I can learn from another story in the Torah, another parasha in the Torah called Yefastoya. When you go to war and you find a goyish girl that she's all dressed up to seduce men, Jewish men. So the law is, you bring it to your house. You make her grow her nails and her hair. You make him a nouveau to be disgraced. And after 30 days, sealed and crying from her mother, you can convert her. Disgusted, yes. And after that, you can convert her. So what do we see? You cannot just grab a girl that you see a fastoya and you dip her by force that can become a convert and live with her. What's the problem? Take a girl, do by force. What do we see? That you cannot dip in the mikveh by force. So why I need a posuk that a goy cannot circumcise his son when he's an adult by force? I see from a fastoya that I cannot dip in the mikveh by force, which means Toysa makes a dinyon between mikveh and circumcision. If I cannot do mikveh by force, I cannot do circumcision by force. You know what I need a posuk for? This is Toysa's kasha. Comes a Chasam Sofer and he makes a chilik between dipping in the mikveh in essence and circumcision. Yes, Rebbe.
This is here we talk about a cotton, here talk about a gdoila.
No, he's talking about a godel. Both godel.
No, we're talking first about a gdoila.
And also the Rashi is talking about a godel.
What? Godel.
Godel. Why we need a posuk by a godel that a goy can only circumcise a child, not a godel? I see first I cannot dip in the mikveh by force an adult girl. So also an adult man, he cannot circumcise by force.
even a ben agodol.
What?
A father can force his son and godol also to do mikvah.
Without a pasuk, yes. The pasuk says no. So why need the pasuk for that? That's the kasha. So the Chasam Sofer answers.
Why
Yes, Reb Shlomo Zalman.
why is the fact that you need to do all the micing so the dipping is now?
Because what I have to do, the meisim, just let's throw into the mikveh by force, which is Jewish. Then I can be with a Jew, with a convert.
Because the Torah did not want people to burn after the summer. The Torah wants people to have boundaries. Not because there's a. Eventually, also, when she did all the micing, it could still be by force now.
It's all the same question, Rabbi. If how do you call it, the captive, the koivish, the conqueror, if the conqueror, the Obein, the master, has dominion over who he conquered, so why he cannot dip in the mikveh right away? Forget about her crying about the Zorah. What do you want? You don't want Jews to grab those goyim, kosher women, because really they're not fully committed to Judaism. But if I don't need her commitment, I don't care about her heart. I'm the balabait. I'm the balabait dip in the mikveh. I'm the balabait. I circumcised. I don't care about your wishes and you wanting what you want. You're crying and you're complaining. I don't care about all that. I'm the balabait.
You're not the father.
One second. Let's exactly what your question is very important to understand what's the whole piece we want to prove here. 1 second. Listen. What do we see here? If the father, a goy, has a child, he can circumcise him by force. What does that mean? Simply means he's the balabait. Comes Rashi, he says, if you're the balabait, you're also the balabait when he's an adult, who's 13 years old. The only reason why you can't, because the Torah says, there's a pasuk, says you cannot do an ish. The pasuk says, what's the pasuk? Ben shuish atamal. Ben, the pasuk says Ben, which is a man you can't, but when it's a minor you could. After 13, the goy cannot circumcise his son by force because it's a pasuk. So he's saying, why need a pasuk for that? Why need a pasuk for that? When somebody conquers a woman, she needs to be under him, right? So why do we have to worry that she has to leave Avodah Zarah and cry and for 30 days and shave her hair and take off beautiful clothes to wear raggy clothes and put them in the front of their house when he comes in there and see her crying, her father, mother, Avodah Zarah, because we're afraid she's not going to do it for us. You have to cut her off from Avodah Zarah. Why do you have to come under that? I have dominion over her like a slave, and I can dip in a mikveh by force. She's Jewish.
But Hashem doesn't want that.
Not as a Jew, as a goy, as a slave, as something you have dominion over. And if I cannot do it, also bris milah I cannot do it as an adult. Here's what I want to say.
Hashem doesn't want that. Dibra Torah connected to Yetzer Dibra Torah connected to Yetzer. Hashem doesn't want you to have violence in that case.
But why Hashem doesn't want? Because doesn't want you to be with a guy. But if you can dip in and make her, she's Jewish. Again, if she's a Goya, you're right. Hashem doesn't want you to live with a Goya. See, he tells you, Yetzirah, drag it, this, that. No. I can make her a Jew in 1 second. She's my dominion, she's under me. Boom! I make her a Jew, put her in the mikveh by force. That's a question which you have a way to bypass the problem. What's about this? She's a Goya, and if we have to make sure that she can. My dominion, I don't need her das. That was our whole point. We have 2 avenues in our sugya. One avenue is I need the das of a convert, and a child, we assume, nichusa and all that. And another path, no, I don't need the nichusa. I'm the balabait. I'm the owner. I'm the papa. I'm the father. I can do what I want. I can just cut and do what I want. So therefore, if I have the dominion, yes, what do you want to say?
No, Torah says because this relation started with Yetzer at the end he's gonna divorce. That's all the.
That's not Yetzer.
That's the
We're asking on that. It's not a Yetzirah. That's what we ask. We begging the question. Yetzirah means she's a goy, and you want a goy up. So the Torah says Yetzirah. But if I go like this, now she's Jewish, so I want a Jewish girl. What's the problem? How do I go like this? She becomes Jewish. I conquer her. She's under my domain. I dip her by force. She's Jewish. And I don't need a dash. She's my kli. She's like a kli. Dip it in mikveh like a vessel. She's Jewish. Finish.
Anyways, you can
Yeah, what do you want to say? Thumbs down in 1 second.
conquer someone by force and then release him and then he becomes Jewish.
This is the question we're begging. That's what we're begging. That's what we're asking. What have to come on? We'll forget about all those stories. The Rambam says, Tokav. Yisrael should talk about if I attack a child. Says, I own it. I can do what I want. I just did it. I don't ask questions. I don't care. He screams and he shouts. I did it. We're finished. I don't have to go into Nichusa.
But there is a clear difference between
Yes.
conversion of the father, the values of the father in the child. He really wants the good for him. This guy wants to marry her. A conversion because marriage is forbidden.
Not true. That's not true.
For love.
That's not true.
For love.
That's not true.
It's not true.
No. Look in Shulchan Aruch and Ramah and the Goy Vilna that the ever works. Chatchila now, but it ever works.
But the values of this guy is like the values of the father. It's like values of the shop.
Why not? He's a conqueror. He's a conqueror. He's a kovish. Yes, David Shlomo, David Shlomo. Okay.
אבל בפסוק בקיצור אומר, ואחרי כן, הוא בוכה, הוא מה שלי, ואחרי כן.
נכון.
הוא אומר, התורה לא אומר שלא יכול, הוא אומר, אחרי זה, עושה את זה.
אתה לא מבין את אנחנו שואלים, למה צריך לעשות את כל הזה בגלל שהיא גויה? ורוצים שתבכה מעבודה זרה, ולהוריד את היצר הרע של יהודי להיות עם גויה. יש פטנט לעקוב, פטנט, אתה יודע מה זה פטנט? פטנט חשוב, registered patent. Patente. She's under my dominion, right? I conquered her. I go to the mikveh and I take her hair. I push her down. Hashem Gerus. Boom, she's Jewish, no problem. Now the Torah is allowed. I'm allowed to marry converts, yes. Why not? She's Jewish. She's not Yetzer Hara anymore. It's Yetzer Tov. She's Jewish now. Good. Hupen Kiddush, what's the problem? That's the question. If we see by a pastor that you cannot do Tefillah Bal Kocho, so also we cannot do Mila Bal Kocho, right in the Pasuk. That's the discussion. So the Chassam Sofer makes a chiluk in essence. He makes a chiluk b'mahut between Mila and Tefillah. Okay? And the Rambam, we have to explain a different word. Let's have to explain the Rambam. I'm reading the Chassam Sofer. The last paragraph. ונראה לנו הוזדייתי בהן עניין מילה דוימה לתפילה. Comes the Chassam Sofer and he says, where's Reb Simcha? He's gone? Okay. What happened to Reb Simcha?
He wants to put the bandage.
Bandage, okay, unfortunately.
No, the bandage, the Rosh Hashanah says is a lot of time to heal.
The bandage, okay. Good. ונראה לנו הוזדייתי. Comes the Chassam Sofer and makes a chiluk between Tvila and Mila. The Milo doime letvila. The Milo ain't sicher das animoy. Circumcision, I don't need the das of the one who's being circumcised. Rakshie kavonas amal l'shenyadus. You need the intention of the moyo, which means that the one who does the circumcision, for the sake of Judaism. La'afuke l'shem avi v'givoini, to exclude avi v'givoini. The bris milah, the father can do by force to the child. Why? Why? Without a person, even a child is an adult. Even a goy can circumcise his son, Meyer, and even an adult by force without a person. Without the person that knocks it out, and an adult. Why? Because the ingredients, The mahut, the essence of bris milah is different. Bris milah means that you don't need the knowledge of the one who's being cut. The one who's being cut is like a chefetz, it's like an object. And the one who does the cutting is doing the ma'aseh milah. Who does the mitzvahs milah? Asher kidishon v'dotzivonu lamur. What's the mitzvah? To circumcise. The ma'aseh mitzvah milah is the cutting, the ma'aseh of the cutting. The child is, as a result, that is being nimod, is as a result, he has a sign on him, a sign, an ois on him. But the ma'aseh bris milah zura Reb Shlomo. Who does the ma'aseh bris milah, the ma'aseh mitzvah, is the one who does the action of cutting. The child has the mitzvah on him as a result, but the ma'aseh mitzvah is the one who cuts. Likonas lebrisoy, which is lachnisoy, that I'm bringing in. The male is bringing it in. Also the conversion. We say likones. We say when a girl converts. Yes. Lachnisa v'shavavon avinu. Not him. The Moral says it.
The Moral says putting in the breeze.
Yes, you should know. When you have a Moral is circumcised, he tells the father, "I'm your shliach." It's not the shliach of the baby. The baby is the chefza that you do on him. That is miskiyum din, kiyum chetzav din. But really, the ma'aseh bris milah, the ma'aseh mitzvah is done by the father, or by the mother, which is a shliach of the father, and not by the child. And you have kavona samal Hashem yadus, and al Hashem givoy nivar. Yes.
There's some big doyle poskim don't say that.
Okay. We're not talking about the chasam.
No, talking about they say, Kibega says.
Yes.
Kibega before says that there's not the ma'aseh milah, is the result.
Okay, I don't know.
Kibega.
We see from David HaMelech, he felt as a mitzvah. The Rebbe used to bring down here this, that the result, because David HaMelech saw his bris milah, says, I have a mitzvah with me, even in Beis HaMechot, which means the result of Anem is the mitzvah. But he still can say the mitzvah, the result of the mitzvah is Anem, but he didn't do the ma'aseh. The ma'aseh is not him. The ma'aseh was his father Yishai that did. He has to do it, yes, obviously. It's done, but right now it's done on him, and he's not part of the ma'aseh. Elo, however, אלא כל שמולו להכניסו בביס ישראל. That's good. ונקשה מינו מעכב, if the nimol is preventing, is an adult, ונבוי ציליכנס לדס, he doesn't want to enter the religion, הרי דייתו מעכב, his opinion prevents, משום מוכן הדומה בן שהוא איש בעל כוח, מפני שדייתו מעכב. The Torah says, if the child is an adult, he doesn't want, he's מעכב. However, a child, a son child, he has no knowledge to prevent, even doesn't have das to accept yoke of mitzvahs. However, the circumcision works. Why? To permit his father when he wants to become Jewish from his own free will. The circumcision retroactively will also be elevated circumcision. You don't need to prick blood again. What is he saying? He's saying the essence of bris milah is the mice, the one who does the cutting. He is the one that is doing the ma'aseh mitzvah, which is the father. The father wins korban pesach. He can't eat korban pesach because he has a child that is the child that is circumcised. So he can circumcise the child by force. Just as he's an adult, the Torah says he cannot, that his das is me'akev. But as a child, and even without a posuk, even an adult cannot me'akev. Because the ma'aseh mitzvah is not the child, it's not the one who's being done on it. The ma'aseh mitzvah is the one who's doing it. So therefore he's doing the ma'aseh mitzvah, the ma'aseh mitzvah is the one who does it. When it does it on him. So without a posuk, I would say even an adult cannot me'akev. The Torah says he is me'akev. But a child with no dots, even after the posuk, not me'akev, because the essence of ma'aseh milah is the mitzvah of milah is the cutting, is not the result. And therefore, what? The father.
child.
No. The halacha, the Torah says, the father cannot eat korban pesach if he has children who are not circumcised. But if his children are circumcised, even though they didn't dip in the mikvah, they can eat korban pesach.
So the child himself, he cannot eat.
If he didn't finish Yadus, no, probably not. I don't know. If he's not a child, if he's not a slave or something like that, no.
Why you have to say that the Meister Mina doesn't? Say result is also good. And when you have a das, a child, adult, he cannot do it because when the child, no matter.
Because normally the one who does the Maisa needs the das. So who's doing the Maisa is the father, so he needs the das. And the Nemo, the result doesn't need
Who
das.
needs das here?
Every Maisa mitzvah needs das. Otherwise it's misasik. Otherwise you have to have das. So now you're doing a Maisa mitzvah. Who does the Maisa mitzvah? The father. So therefore the Chiddush is the only one that needs das. And the baby, the child doesn't need. The one who is being on him, he doesn't need even a dog without a puzzle.
Who's it not give the das? Who's it not give the das?
So the Maisa and adult after the puzzle
Even
could
the guy
matter.
would do it, that's a also do it.
Rabbi. The Maisa and adult is me'akev after the pasuk, right? We want to say without the pasuk, even adult would not me'akev. How? That was a question with the pasuk. The answer is because mitzvah samaisa that the father's doing it, and the one that has been result on him. The das is not the one who does the Maisa, which is the father, the moyel, another child. Simple.
I don't understand.
What do you
Is that
understand?
I don't understand it, doesn't it? It doesn't make
What you don't understand? Explain yourself.
I understand. If because the results to happen in Mila, I don't have to do a Maisa.
I didn't say you have to do a Maisa, you're adding.
What you have to say what? Yeah,
The Maisa is the father. The Tinoik, the child, is a result on him. It's being done on him. I'd say there's no need of Maisa.
What is doing here? What happened?
The father does the Bris Milah, not the child. It's as a dinkim with the child, maybe. But it's not the Mekayim the mitzvah. Who's Mekayim the mitzvah Bris Milah is the father.
The father pushes him to do it.
Not pushes, doesn't push, he does the mitzvah.
We're saying that the father is not a shaliach in that case.
The father is not a shaliach.
He's the
He's the one who's been commanded.
And in Mila it's not like that.
Oh, let's see. Masheik and Tvila. Guys, are really inside.
Who says he has to do the mitzvah?
Masheik and Tvila shikora kabola sol mitzvahs. Wow. This is a big chiddush. The Chassam Sofer, he wants to say that the Iker Tvila is the accepting the yoke of the mitzvahs. The Afilu Neumann, he wants to say, She'en oido, it's a mistake, a tzaddik has to be a ballad. Afilu Neimo She'en oido me'akev, even the announcing of the mitzvahs, telling about the mitzvahs. V'gam en beisha shoyme me'akev b'di'evet. If we're going to say that, like the Rashba brings, like the Ritva brings down, that telling the yoke of mitzvahs, informing the mitzvahs to the child, and based the Anan Me'akev b'di'evet, based of 3 Anan Me'akev b'di'evet. Mikol Mokom, however, Boi Tvilo Shetel Shem Mitzvah. You need a dipping for the sake of mitzvah. The mitzvah has to be for the sake of mitzvah. Who? One who pushes the child inside the water, or the child that is being dipped in the water? No. Boi Tvila Shel Hashem Mitzvah. Since the mitzvah, the essence of the mitzvah of Tvila is accepting the yoke of mitzvahs. So you can't say the one who pushes into the water, he's the one that's accepting the mitzvahs. Not him, it's the one that's being dipped. So if the essence of Tvila is accepting the yoke of mitzvahs, by definition, I don't define Tvila as like I take a vessel, I put it into the water. I have a child, I cut his foreskin. So the Maise of Bris Milah is the Moyel, is the father. By a Tvila, you can say the same thing. I take a woman, I take a child, I dip it in the mikvah like a vessel. I put a vessel into the mikvah. The vessel is just an environment. There's not to be das. It's me doing the Maise Tvila for you, pushing your head inside, throwing the baby inside the water, the child in the water. It's my Maise says no. Tvila is different, which means I could have said that. But we say no, although I have a kasha and Rashi, Mishifastoya. He says no. With Mila, Tvila is different. Don't say like I just said now. That Tvila is like a vessel, like a kli, that I dip into the water, like a Bris Mila. and the one who does the mice is the Beis Din or the father that shoves the child, or the toikef, tokav Yisrael shetokaf akum koton. He tokaf, and I said the tokaf means he shoved into the mikvah, so which means the mice dipping in the mikvah is like a kli, like a vessel. I own him, or I own him through kibush, who is a flamezal. Through kibush, I don't see him here anymore, but like kibush, like conquering, it's a kibush, or foster father. I found a baby child, so I'm the father, and I'm taking care of him, so it's on my ownership, and the child, when I bring him, is like a kli, like a vessel. That's the other option we're going to say now, Bezal Shem and the Rambam. He's saying no. The essence of Tvila is Kabbalah Sol Mitzvahs. And therefore the Kabbalah Sol Mitzvahs is not the one who dips. He's not the Kabbalah. The child is the Kabbalah, not me. Not the basing. It's the child that you dip. The Kli needs to Kabbalah. The vessel needs to Kabbalah. The child needs to Kabbalah. So since the essence, although it's a big Kiddush, why? Yes, a question on itself. Although that the Kabbalah Sol Mitzvahs are not Me'aka B'di'evet, they're announcing that says before you dip the child in the mikveh, the person in the mikveh, you have to meloidia. You have to acknowledge him or inform. It's a better word. Inform him about ikol mitzvahs chamuras, ikol chamuras, the chamuras mitzvahs, peyo, stoko, arayas. To teach him the chamuras. I remember many years ago, my nephew was a chief rabbi of Bulgaria, and he called me up and says, "Listen, come, and I need you to help. I teach 4 or 5 guys, a couple of girls, women, and I want them to do a conversion. And I need a basic. I cannot rely on nobody in my congregation. First of all, I need some guidance to do the conversion, and I don't know if everyone's Shomer Shabbos 100%. Of the Jew, no, the Jewish. So the minute you had a Jewish, I was there in Darwin. Whatever it is. So what I did is I took a piece of carton, because it's big, and I wrote him all the Seder of the Bris Milah. What do you do? Makabel K'zugamois. How do you do every detail? What do you do on top of something? He knows a big shine where you prick. Above that or below, and the side, there's chazonish, there's so many shittas, you go crazy after much. You think to do a conversion is like this, it's complicated. And you have to, and normally women too, they clean themselves, but most of the time it becomes evening. So my question is, can I do Gemar Din at night? I started there at night, the tefillah, my woman with tefillah, so many, which means you have to do early morning, and then she had all those different culling on the eyes, and this, you have to take it off. Moshe Feinstein of Yosef, he take it off, for 30 days is on, it's kavua, dinim, whatever it is. We came out from a small carton to like this, to figure out, then we have to cut it again and again on a piece of paper to make it mamash metzumtzum beremes, exactly the seder of conversion. It's complicated, but conversion, the dipping in the mitzvah, dipping in the mikvah, it's the essence is Kabbalah's or mitzvahs. Great. If Kabbalah's or mitzvahs, so I be the other. If he didn't do, it's kosher. He says, I'm reading this before he asks, because I want people should recognize, be aware what is he's attacking himself and he's just bypassing it. He says, Masha'enken Tvila, she called Kabbalah's mitzvahs, da'afilu in noima. Afilu has a question on it. Even if we're going to say Shema Oidor Me'akev, like the Ritva, that they're announcing the mitzvah down Me'akev, even going to say that, I need Oidor, you have to change it to a dalet. From the top, 2, 4, 6, 7 lines on the top. Yes.
I have a question. If the child needs kavana, if the child needs das to accept the yoke of Shemayim, then doesn't it make sense that in all cases, even with the das that they did, the child should be able to protest at 13 because it's up to him accepting the yoke. No one can accept.
Correct. This is what you have to. You're very good at Joshua. That he's going to say in a second. That's the next stage. But before we get to that stage, but first we have to establish what the Chassam Sofer is fighting here to establish. Guys, What is the Chazal Sofer fighting to establish? He's fighting to establish that Tefillah is different than Milah. Milah is the one who does the circumcision on him, but the child is like an animate. It's like an object being done on him. I would say the same thing is Tefillah. The Tefillah as a child is like an animal, is like a vessel. I do the Tefillah on him. The Tefillah is put on him. It's not that he's doing it. He says no. And he says, although means there's a question which looks that those condition looks not like what he's saying. He's saying since lichoiro, I need to inform the child with kabbalah sol mitzvahs, and the diavad, I don't need him. The diavad, if he didn't inform him, and the diavad, if you don't have a basin of shloisha, the diavad is not me'akev. So therefore, what? See, how can you say tefillah? The essence tefillah kabbalah sol mitzvahs. Even if you didn't have kabbalah sol mitzvahs, the tefillah still works. So therefore, come back to say tefillah is just like a piece of vessel, like a kli, dip in a mikvah. He says no. Afal PK that you don't need but the ever or you don't, and afal PK but the ever you don't need a basin. Still, mikol mokoim boi tefillah shete'el l'shem mitzvah. However, he's saying no. We have to say that the tefillah needs to be for the sake of mitzvah. Who? The one is being dipping. That through this will enter under the wings of the Shekhinah. And I need the das of the one who's being dipping in the mikveh. It's a big kiddush. I won't say, which means you see the Chazam Sofer is battling with it. What is battling is, since I don't need Kabbalah Shom Mitzvahs with the Eved, and I don't need a basin with the Eved, so true, the Tefillah, it's a Ma'aseh Mitzvah that needs das, but who's das of who? Who does the Ma'aseh Tefillah? Is the basin that give him the teaching go under, or the father that pushes the child top off and he throws into the water? Who's das?
Also here,
One second, he's saying no. I don't need Kabbalah Sol Mitzvahs b'diavad, but the essence of Tefillah is you dip yourself in the mikveh to enter. When you are surrounded with water, with tahara, you entering. Who's entering you? Who's doing? Who's the vessel? It's the person. So you need that. So who's doing it? So though I shove you. Now they ask a big shayla. What is it becoming again? When he's in or when he comes out? When he's in or he comes out? Comes out, says the child. Something is right. I'm coming out. Oh no, I can't breathe. I have to come out. So I put it in. So coming out. But who's doing the mice? Who's doing the mice is the Bezdin, is the father shovering. So he says no. Since the essence of Tefillah is Kabbalah's mitzvahs, who's accepting mitzvahs? The person that is dipping in the mikveh. He has to accept, not me. So although it's a kash against it. How can you say Tefillah, the essence of Tefillah, Kabbalah's mitzvahs, although I don't need if I didn't tell him Kabbalah's mitzvahs again, just before there's Kabbalah's mitzvahs, you do twice. When he comes to Bezdin, you talk to him about Kabbalah's mitzvahs, and right before he dips in the mikveh, the Bezdin goes back again, and Moedian, in short, Kalas HaChamuros. And there's a list. Peyot, Tzedakah, Matlasanim. There's a list of 15 things that you have to tell him right before he dips in the mikveh. Again, but if you didn't do it with the Eved, you already did it. When he came to court, it was with Kabbalah mitzvahs. So you see that really Kabbalah mitzvahs are not really attached to the Tefillah. Kabbalah says, no, it's one bundle. One bundle. Which means, if I would say, really Tefillah is not Kabbalah mitzvahs. All mitzvahs is one thing, and Tefillah is another thing. So if Tefillah is another thing, who says Tefillah you need the das of the nitbal, maybe you need the das of the matpilim or Bezdin. Of the father, of the toikev, whatever is the balabai that brought him to Tefillah. It's not so simple as to say.
Also in Mila is wrote it, Tzricha das animoin l'shem yadus. What's the difference? Tzricha das animoin l'mikveh, זה שנכנס למקווה. Tzricha das animoin l'shem yadus.
That's a different das when he's an adult, Yes, Reb Simcha.
The
I don't hear, guys, quiet, please. Repeat the question. Yes.
Religious, and then the guy's in the water, and he comes up and he says, what a nice swim.
Oh.
What's he doing?
According to the Chasam Sofer, 0.
You need the das of the
You need the Baal Nidbar. According to what we want to say, maybe according to the Rambam, no. Tvila and Mila is the same. It's like a vessel. It's the das of the base in Nice Loav.
Tell me by Mila that I could be ma'akid. When I'm big, I could be ma'akid.
Right. You need your das, yes.
So it's the exact same thing.
No, but some people learn that when you grow up, you only have a way out. But you don't need to have your das to Mekayim. It's 2 sheets. We'll see Machlokes Rishonim soon. We'll see soon, B'ezrat Hashem. We'll see in a second. Now, a second. You have to learn the next part of the sukkah. That's the last part. The next part. But I could probably just want to go back again. So I'm madgish here the Chasam Sofer. That's what's so important, Chasam Sofer, because you see through the back of the Chasam Sofer is the other opinion. What?
Not the Chasam, according to those that are going to argue.
Yes.
They're going to say, oh, what a nice swim. You're Jewish.
Right. Right. That's what the Rambam. Look at the Rambam. The Rambam says Yisrael shetokav akum koton. A Jew that attacked a goy katan. What does it mean attack? What does the word attack mean, Rabbi? Grab him to where? The court or to the mikveh? To the mikveh, right? So what the Rambam is saying, he's like a vessel. That's a pashtus. That's what we're saying. And the Chasam Sofer we gain, and the Akdoras Ador we gain, he gave us the clarification and the magdir, the 2 opinions here. The opinion of Toys is Bris Mila is cutting and is just a result. But Tvila is battling. And he says, no, Mila is Kabbalah's mitzvahs. So he has to accept. I don't need to tell him, but you ever know, but still you need das and the mice of the Tvila. And who's the das? Maybe the Toivel, not the Nidbar. No, because it's the essence, it's Kabbalah's mitzvahs. So don't I need it? It's a very schwach story here. But he has to say in order to answer Toys's kasha. But now we gave from the Chasam Sofer that the Rambam is not awkward. The Rambam is not off the wall. Or he started the question is he on the table. We started the shiur. The Rambam sounds crazy. A guy attacks a child, a goy, he dips in the mikvah. How does it work? Right, Rabbi? The Belay said, that was the problem here. How does it work by force? Meshika. The answer is no. You have dominion over him. Once you, like they said right away, but I wanted to say we have the Magdir deep, now we have the Chasam Sofer, it's much easier. And I say yes. Because the mindset, those who argue that we have Machlokes Toyses and Rambam. According to Toyses, he's saying that there's a chiyuv between Bris Mila and Tvila. It's a chiyuv between those 2. And therefore he says, Bris Mila, it's a mindset of the Mal, and the Nibor is just a result, and Tvila is the mindset of the Nikbar. And you have to have, why? Because he's called Kabbalah's mitzvahs. Although I don't need a b'diavad, and I don't need a beis din. But the ikir is me accepting mitzvahs. When I don't b'diavad, I don't need oidor. You don't need to announce, but I need a mekabel. And I don't need right before I dip b'diavad, but I need it before. Or child doesn't have. But that's the essence of the. Without accepting or announcing mitzvahs, you have to announce that that mice has to with a das that you're entering the wings of Shechina. That's the whole concept of Tvila. So who needs that das? The beis din, the goy. He says no, the child, because there is a Kabbalah's mitzvahs. It's a chidush. It's not so simple. That's for the Chasam Sofer. You see, he's battling within himself. You see, you don't need to do it. You don't need a beis din. It's a kasha. He says no. After pikei, the nidbar needs das. The shit mitzvah nekas takadol Shechina. And therefore, if that's true, boy das am nidbar. Gamken v'ashta mi'efastola muchach elo. Mifafto we only learn shel Baal Koich cannot dip Baal Koich. Why? Because he need the das of the nidbar. That's why I cannot take a goyish girl yefastoya. Where's the guys? I go like this. She's Jewish, right? Why can I do this? Because I need her das. Avalon muchach shel Baal Koich, but I still can do circumcision by force. Since Mila I can do by force, the Kiddush is only a child, not an adult. Adults das can make it. But if an adult is your slave, I can dip him by force. Because a slave, I don't care about his das. Only an adult goy, he can make him, not an adult evet. אם כן ממילא הדין שטועים לא זה בעל כוח לגבשים ולא זו. Ken legally ask for this. That's what he answers Tosis Kasha. They says at a Kasha, why is it a pasuk? By a bris milah that I cannot circumcise an adult goy. Why I need a pasuk for? Let's learn from Yeshivas Torah that I cannot dip alcohol. He says not true. Cannot dip alcohol because dipping needs the das of the nidbal, of the one who's being dipped. That's what I cannot do alcohol. But a bris milah, I don't need the das of the one who's being circumcised. Only the male, the one who does the mice of the cutting, not the one who's being done on it, not the baby, not the one who's being done on it, not the nimoy. So therefore, I need a pasuk to tell you, although I don't need the das of, he's just like a vessel being cut out of it. When he's an adult, he can make it. Without a pasuk, I wouldn't know that because it's not part of the mice. It's just a result. So who says his das is making? He need a pasuk that is making. But by bris milah, by dipping the mikveh, that I need the das of the one that's being dipped, because the ikar of Kabbalah's at least is, although I don't need it, but that's the ikar somehow. So the das of the one who's dipping the mikveh is not a vessel. It's not like being done on him. Chiddush. So therefore, I cannot learn from your fastoya. There I cannot do balkoch. Pshita. But who says bris milah I could? That was Tosis Kasha and Rashi.
So the Rambam speak all just in a goyim that it's your virus and not in goyim regular. If now today I pick up a goy from the street.
Yes.
It's not. I'm not buying on that child.
You're not buying on that child.
I'm not doing it.
Everybody agrees on that. But if it was a war and I conquer the child, a goy, they make like good. Yes. He says, with this I can answer also the first kasha. The bekoton afa pisho with yochel amuloi. Bakol a child goy that even I can circumcise it by force. Mikol mokol me the yochel atbiloi, I cannot dip in the mikveh. The lulei the nichle might have won. If it wasn't that the father, he's happy with the father's doing, he cannot do it. So you know why, if the father converts with the child, even though the circumcision I can do by force. I can do by force, yes. But to do a tefillah, I need the child's agreement. So the Gemara says, Nichalo, even if the father convert with them, you know why it works the dipping? Because dipping always you need the das of the children. So we have to say, where's the das? Nichalo. So we have here, what we gain here today, we gain it as two different avenues here. We gain from the Chassam Sofer the understanding of the other avenue. Instead of saying like the traditional way that you need das, and where's the child, we assume that the child would want what his father, his foster, his mother, the one who controls them, whatever he wants, that's really he wants. And later on we ask him that's what he wants. We clarify later on, but we can assume that's what he wants. So really, I need das, and I have das, and I have potential das, and I have din das, potential das. Okay. That's one way. There's another way he says, no. Like we see the Chassam Sofer's kasha was, by bris milah, I don't need the das of the child. Even the fathers are going to child, you know why? Why don't I need the das? Because the bite. It's like chamor shayr, like my donkey. And that's why children die, bro. When somebody doesn't keep in the doing, his children die. The Rambam says, it's like your money.
It's like the shlichut.
Not shlichut, because your ownership, you have dominion over it. The shaila is, what about tefillah dip in the mikveh? So the Rambam will hold, we see from this Rambam, according to this Mahalach, the Rambam holds that any goy, that a Jew attacked a goy, and he gained dominion over him, control, ownership, and he can take it a slave, I can dip in the mikveh Shem Evet, because I conquered him, or I find a baby goy, and I'm the foster, I'm taking care of him, I can dip in the mikveh because I have dominion, ownership over him. Through finding a baby, or conquering an adult. What about finding an adult? You can't find an adult, it'll run away. A child. There's a baby and a child. So the Rambam says finding a child, or conquering finding a baby and conquering a child. That's what the Rambam says. What? Like a war. Yes.
He was all those people in the Edom. He was
the guy that he forced him. So the answer is, according to this, we have two avenues in the Suga Rebbe. One is you need das and you have nichusa. The other way is I don't need das, you have bailing. Not only by bris milah, also by tefillah. It's like a kli. That's another way. What?
by the Av.
Or by the Av, or the foster, or the
Rashi says they become like the Av. It's
Right.
like the
But the
Av.
Khatam Sofer,
but we saw that maybe last week, and they have Sha'inyan Aben Mosul La'av La'achnisu Lebris B'Shayimuna. So we said yesterday means maybe that whatever the father wants, that's what child wants. That's one way. Or no, Inyan Mosul as Bailus.
but the Khatam Sofer,
Complete man with no das, together, erased all das. You don't have to come onto that. You have a cash why the Gemara has to say that, those words. That's what he's trying to answer Moshe with. But according to this, Mahalach has nothing to do. I'm a bailing over it.
but the Khatam Sofer,
Du lechayim chosana.
the Chasam Sofer Dorchet, the Avamina. It's an Avamina. And he says that all the Schia is because the Michale ומה זה אבי דמורון, ומגדיל יכולים לראות. הוא לא אוחז את האבamina הזה שבא.
So we say Nechuse is before Ravuna. But once you have Ravuna, so I don't need Nechuse, I have Bailus, I have a dominion over it. That's what Moshe was trying to tell me.
According to the Rambam, you don't lechayim chosana.
What?
According to the Rambam, the Tokaf, the Yisrael Tokaf.
No, Lichorona, that was the cash of some Soifer. Should be Doraisa. Because you have dominion over it. What? So the answer is because now that they have ability, is not because the Gevus is not Doraisa. The is Doraisa, but he has a way out. It's Gev Doraisa out tonight, and there's a way out now. Not that until he doesn't say yes when he's adult, it's not Gevus. It's Gevus. He has a way out. Why the Chacham gave it? Because they understood that he didn't give any option to the guy get out. Okay, yes, Rabbi Yoshua. That the child would want in his heart always, you can assume is built in that children want to do what the parents want.
Sure, and then we also discussed
Or force their father or the mother or Beis that's taking care of him. People that take care of the child, there's an inner built-in wish and nichusa of comfortable doing what they want.
that's separate to the discussion.
It's a whole different. What?
The ger has to accept the yoke himself.
That's different. That's different. We say we don't. According to this side, you need, and he said it's built in. I don't need to have it in reality. I can have it in potential or in laws. According to this way. According to the other way, I don't care about his das because I'm the owner. I have dominion over him. I don't care about it.
It's two different ways.
Two different ways. A whole two different.
Why don't we discuss the third way about shluchim?
We're going to see it soon. That's next week. There's Toises. You guys have to prepare Toises here and Toises in Sanhedrin. And Bezrat Hashem, we're going to print in the Beis Halevi. There's a lot of Choymer here. The next page that you guys are on. That's a whole different world. We're going to see Bezrat Hashem. Or it's the same world. We'll see. Okay. Yes, Rabbi. You're right. So you have to say Nechusa before Ravuna, like Moshe Shoshan. But after Ravuna, I don't need Nechusa. Without Ravuna, I would say the Pshat in the Mishnah was Nechusa. After Ravuna, even the Mishnah is not Nechusa. It's just Bailus. That's a way to learn it. Says, no, we can say that. No. The Gemara says without Ravuna, the Mishnah of less than 3 years old is Nechusa. But now we have Ravuna, I don't need Nechusa, even in the case of the Mishnah.
No, because the Gemara is saying that the Katan is Keralonika, we need the Kusa for the Kota.
That's before. Kamashma, what's a Kamashma? Kamashma, you can say that the Mishnah is Nechusa and Ravuna is without, or no, according to Ravuna in the Mishnah, I don't have to come at the Nechusa because I have Bibles. The Gemara says Kamashma. What's a Kamashma? Doesn't say what Kamashma. So you can say that Kamashma Ravuna, that I don't need Nechusa because I have Bailus. And that's why even without the parents it work because I have Bailus. And even with the parents, I don't have to come onto Nechusa because I have Bailus. So the whole thing changed. That's how you can learn the Kamashma. That's what the Rama would learn. You hear Rabbi Rebbeinu? Okay, I know. I'm just saying another Mahalach in the Sugya. I'm not yet deciding. In the end of the Sugya, I have to decide what's the best opinion here. La Aloha. But this is what another option, another mahalach that we have to bear in our minds. Okay, Musa Shmuz. What?
How do these two scholars of Balus or Anichale address the case of the Katan who comes on his own? You don't have Balus, and Nichale is not now.
So we saw the Mehiri, that if the child comes in, it's allowing the basic to become his foster father.
So is it as if, so the toilet...
A combination. The starting point is that they're not missionaries because the child comes and requests. Once a request, the basic takes over and the basic becomes the father.
If we're going to say the child needs das by toilet.
So basic means that the child requests, so basic does it for him and they assume that's what he wants even later, he's not full das. Those are two options. Last week we explained that the child comes, so the basic perpetuates and boosts his wish to assume that's really, and they boost that wish and they act upon that wish. Now we say no. It's just a trigger for Beis allowing themselves to become the foster father. But really, and once we become the foster father, they're the balabait. You don't need the child's agreement. That's the other way to learn. That's the path we're saying this week.
Why can't we say that the das of the child is retroactive to the toilet?
You do that according to that opinion. The opinion that you need is das. So when he's 13 years old, he says yes. It's strengthening what he had before. But according to yes, but that's line of understanding. But the other line is I don't need his nichus. You need his balabait. You need his bailing to talk, not him. Once his bailing talk, they take over. The bailing could be the father. Could bailing be one who finds the baby. The bailing one who conquered the child. The bailing can be one the foster father. It can be a lot of things. And therefore, it's Geus Doraisa. It's let's say if you have the Moshe Sternbuch in his book, he says that if you have, according to those opinion, the Rambam's opinion, that if you have foster parents, that legally they got a child to ma'amitz, to adopt, and if they dip the child in the mikveh, it's done. I don't care about it, and he cannot protest when he's adult. Because it's Doraisa, it's Doraisa, the Bailus. Those who learns the Ma'alach of Bailus, the child cannot protest when he's a child. Some say. Some Rishonim, some Soivim, or whatever. We have to go into that more in details, actually. But it's just now talking about Lumdis, the ideas, how to learn this whole subject of Geus. Okay. Musoshmos. So I want people next week to march further down to Toisves here now, Gemara. Is Shlichus, Zechia, the Oraisa, the Rabbonon, Toises and Sanhedrin, which is reprinted in here. That is Zoichel Gufo, is a Schus Gomo, not Schus Gomo. There's a lot of lumdis in that. In this Mahalach, and I'll print out the Beis Halevi and Drush, which I think is very relevant. A whole new way to explain how does it work here. How does it work? Siyata Dishmai. So we started in the beginning of the week explaining the Torah Kedoshah. This Musa is very important. And I want to explain, in my understanding, what is life about. Very important. Been talking about the last couple of weeks. In the essence, those are listen carefully what I was talking about. But I want to jump into it again from this concept. It says in the Torah Kedoshah, Yaakov lived in Egypt 17 years. It says Yaakov. Yaakov, the days of Yaakov is 147. So it says twice Yaakov. How many years he lived in Mitzrayim? How many years totally he lived? But then the Torah starts using the name Yisrael. Vayikrevu Yemei Yisrael Lomus. The days of Israel came close to die. So this first question is why the Torah jumps from Yaakov twice to Israel. Number one. Number two is, what does it mean? Vayikrevu Yemei Yisrael Lomus. How does he know that his days are close to die? And why the days? The days of Israel was close to die. What are the days? Why days are coming close to die? What does that mean? So we have your Orach Chaim HaKodesh, and I want a little bit to challenge his ideas, understanding, but really it's all the same in the end, and I'll explain that Bezrat Hashem. That's my goal. So the Orach Chaim HaKodesh brings down the Ramban that says that Yaakov became very weak. Rabban Kosav, sheyoda me'argoshas afsus koichoso. His energy was very down, that is becoming efes. Efes means zero. Therefore he knew that he's going to die, he has no power anymore. Comes the Orach Chaim, says, not true. Ein vov nirim. Ki kama yomim yichya odom achar she'atchil licholesh. We see many times a person becomes very weak, he barely can pick up his fingers, he's totally, you can barely talk, but he still can live many more days. So how does Israel know? How do he know? He knew, because he was weak. How does he know? Weak is not a proof that you're going to die. Weak maybe is an indication. It's not knowledge. Oh, so what he answers, listen to what he says. See, he says two levels, and I want to to discuss a little bit the second point he mentions, and challenge it with a few questions and understanding b'siyata d'shmai. Listen carefully, b'siyata d'shmai. And he says, tzaddikim, like he said, the Zohar HaKodesh brings down that 30 days before death of a person, the tzelem goes away, whatever the tzelem means. And it brings that Rav Shimon Bar Yochai saw Rabbi Yitzchok, that his tzelem went away from him, and he knew he was going to die. This knowledge, it's nobody, human beings cannot know that. At tzaddikim, margishim, they feel, they know, they feel and they know any spiritual thing.
Right?
What?
The more Pesachim said one of the things that Hashem hides from the eyes of man
is Yoim HaMoves, like David HaMelech. But they margish, they can margish. But he says something deeper. He says more than that. It's not only that he knew a siman, that the sailor one away, the siman is going to die. It's something deeper. That's definitely tzaddikim now. You can explain the subject in a deeper way by saying, the days of Israel came close to die. What does it mean, the days came close to die? He says, because in Yomim is not shaykh or makriba coming close. What does it really mean? So he brings down the Arizal. He says the neshama is being separated to a couple of sparks. Yediyah nischalkus haneshomes lekama nitzoitzos. Ubechol gilgul vegilgul boim ktas mehem. Odom harishon, when he sinned, and the spiritual limbs start falling off, as it says in the Medrash and Chazal. So when it became to the zillions of sparks, and a couple of sparks coming to each neshama comes down. So every person in this room, any Jew, his neshama contains a couple of those sparks of the neshama of Adam that he needs to fix. ובכל גלגול וגלגול בו ינקצס מהם, וכפי מספר הניצויצויס של הצלם, according to the number of the sparks of the tzelem, כך מספר ימי חייו. So is the numbers of the days of a person. והיומים שעושה בהם הניצויס נתקן ניצויס אחד. Every day, this is very careful. That's why it's very important not to lose any day in your life. Why? Because every day is a complete nitzoitz of that day they need to fix. Against each day of one nitzoitz. A day that a Jew doesn't do a mitzvah that day, that spark of that day is damaged. And he says that's why we sleep. Why we sleep? This is the secret of sleeping. Why a person sleeps? Because when he sleeps, sleeping is 1/60th of death. Then when the nitzoitz is not being cutting off from the soul, just nifer me'akol, it's separated but it's still dragging along. V'odeinu nisrach v'nispach v'nefesh. V'zeh michesed kel. This is from the chesed HaKadosh Baruch Hu, shekol nitzoitz shezocha b'yoimoy hinu rochot ma'hefsed. Every day, the day that the mitzvah of that day, when Hashem brought you the circumstances of the day, what Hashem planned for you, and you fix that day, that nitzvah of the day is being fixed. And when a person falls asleep, that nitzvah flies away. I remember many years ago, I had a long table here, and I used to teach all morning guys. Remember Rabbi Yoshua and Rabbi Yoshua? And a guy came in, and he was about 70 years old, and he says, you know, on my refrigerator, I have a calendar. The calendar is this thick, has 5,000 papers. Every day, I rip one paper to remind myself. You know how many 3,650 pages is how many days? It's 10 years. I'm 75. 10 years and I'm 85. I gave myself another 5 years, 90. But he wants to picture himself that every day is ripping one day and is coming thinner and thinner. What a kochatziyah! The Chaim says every day that you should be, you should take a calendar of whatever your age is, and he goes as a mushal. He says he has a long mushal. The Or Chaim, he goes length and length. The mushal bazeh. A king gave a lot of stones, marbles, not marbles, stone jewels to people to fix, and that every day gives you a jewel to fix. So why? He says, you know why in the olden days people lived 930? Because he gave them 300,000. If a guy lives 70 years old, he has 30,000 diamonds, because 30,000 days is 70 years. And that's how many diamonds you got. And every day you're fixing the diamond. If you didn't fix it, it's finished. The day is finished. And that's when we sleep. It's unbelievable. It goes into in depths to explain. And he says, this gives an explanation why in the olden days people lived 300, 900 years and we're down to 300. Because he realized that people are lazy and can barely fix 30,000 diamonds. Not talking about 300,000 diamonds, too much. Hashem gives us much less diamonds to fix, and that's why a person lives less in our day and age. This is what he says. This is what the Or Chaim says. So I'll make a summary. Lemaise. What does it mean by Yikrevu Yemei Yisrael Amus? Yisrael means the spiritual Yisrael, not the Yaakov. He's coming close to Olam HaEmes. How did he know he's going to die? Not because that Selem went away. That's only a siman. Because he knew how many more diamonds he has to fix. The diamond, the numbers is going down and down. There's only a couple of more diamonds to fix. He knows. The days are coming close. He's finished to fix those diamonds. That's what he explains. What bothered me is the Gemara in Brachos and Gemara in Megillah and other places, they asked Ravuna, why you live a long life? He says, because I didn't make people angry, I didn't shame people, you had good midos, all those Amorim. I asked him, why you had a long life? What do you mean, why? Because I have many more diamonds to do. And he explained those Gemaras that people, rabbis, live long life people live a long life because they did certain mitzvahs, schuyos, that they live a longer life. Unless we say, when they have schuyos, Hashem gives them more diamonds. Really, they're supposed to have 70 diamonds, 30,000 diamonds. When they have good midos, it's not mashmos. The mashmos is